And another thing that I find interesting about investing is the whole idea of psychology and almost having to overcome the inherent biases that we as human beings have and trying to think in a counterintuitive way, which is different from the herd. Do you just want to touch on that, Chris?
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. I mean, the thing about investment markets is that in theory, you could follow very rational viewing. And if something is getting bigger or more important, earning more money, whatever it might be, then it should be a great place to invest into, or whatever it might be. And the reverse, obviously, if it's going the other way. The same with the economy, the same with anything in the investment world. But here's the thing. The trouble is that you have to really look at what's already anticipated into something. That's the reality of life. And certainly for the financial markets, where a company or an economy, everything may already be factored in. And it's all about what's going to happen at the next stage, what isn't factored in. And you're right that when you look at the world of investments, particularly, it seems to be factored in so quickly. And so consequently, you get to that point where people are looking forward 1 or 2 years already. And so actually what you've got to do is probably look forward a little bit further than that, or try and work out what people have already anticipated, whether that's rational or irrational. And so, yes, you're right. When something's already highly factored in, then actually it's far more valuable to look at the alternatives and say, well, is it actually going to not be as good as people are thinking? And consequently take a different view on a share or a company or an economy or whatever it might be. So that's always the key with investments. You've got to look medium to longer term, and that might be only 6 or 15 months ahead, but that's much more important than what's happening today or tomorrow. At least that's my view.
No, I think that's a great point. And it's almost as if you're trying to look at the reality, what is actually going on, and the perception by the market, and then try and work out, is there a divergence, or as you're saying, is it all factored in? And then things like Daniel Kahneman, his great book. I think that's really interesting. The whole idea of looking at how our brains work, trying to manage ourselves in a way. And I think to be a good investor, you have to have those skills, that self-management to some extent. Is that correct, Chris?
No, that's absolutely right. I mean, you've got to think sort of both shorter term and longer term, but you've got to think slow and fast as well. Try and think about it in that way. And that's absolutely true. And I learned a lot reading that book. I mean, it's a brilliant and interesting book, really is. And whenever you look at something like that, you realize yourself, and certainly it was a big motivation for me at different parts of my career, where I've realized that actually, yeah, you've got to sort of change a few things in order to learn a bit more. And that's been an important part of certainly my last 30 plus years, I would say, if I include my university education as well. So, that's always important. You can't have a fixed plan, which is the only way you're going to be, when you're a certain age, this is my plan, this is what I'm going to achieve, and that's going to be focused and set for the next 50 years or something. It's not like that. The reality is it's far better to have a series of shorter plans where you're trying to achieve something and then move on to a new challenge, the next level, whatever it might be. And that's not just earning money or, more importance in a particular job, finance, whatever it might be. That may be something far wider: family life, travel, learning about something completely different, doing something completely different. You've got to keep a lot of different stuff going, I think, in life generally. The finance world is fascinating to me, but it's not the only thing I'm interested in, thank goodness. I'd be more worried if it was. But what I do observe is that, yeah, my complete obsession with it, in terms of when I am looking at it, when I am trying to think about it, it's still something that keeps me motivated even now.